Welcome to the Gran Plaza in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, a city of probably 2.5 million people, all very friendly. Monterrey is the capital of Nuevo Leon, and it's about 400 years old. Directly behind me, you see the Fountain of Life with King Neptune and a couple of his subjects along with him. Right in front of me is Cerro de Silla, which translates to the Saddleback Mountain. You'll see all this and more as we discover Mexico in Monterrey, Nuevo Leon.
Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero apresta y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra.
The Republic of Mexico. Its borders extend through an area of over 1.25 million square miles. It is full of diversity, both geographically and socially. Mexico's uniqueness can be traced back to pre-Hispanic times, when several separate civilizations occupied the country during the same time period. Its rugged and at the same time docile lands also contribute to the Republic's extraordinary diversity. The Spanish explorer Hernán Cortés was once asked to describe the map of Mexico. In response, he simply crumpled up a piece of paper and laid it on the table in front of him.
Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero apresta y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros.
A land of many faces, Mexico is a country where the more you feel you've learned about her, the more you realize how little you actually knew.
Al sonoro rugir del cañón.
This week on Discover Mexico, our focus is the northeast border area. Dominating this region is the sprawling city of Monterrey, Mexico's third largest by population and the second largest industrial center behind Mexico City. Monterrey is all new, extremely hectic and noisy, somewhat polluted, and always exciting. These qualities make it a unique place that leaves a lasting impression on all who visit here. In contrast, less than 100 miles away, but worlds away in atmosphere, is Saltillo, the oldest city in the Northeast. Saltillo also contains some industry, but on a much smaller scale. She serves as the capital of the state of Coahuila and offers fine views of the Sierra Madre Mountains. It was the Spanish search for silver and slaves that brought attention to this area in the latter 1500s. The 1700s prompted natives of Nuevo Leon and Coahuila to begin settling what is now Texas. Today, all roads in this region lead to Mexico's ultimate muck and brass city, Monterrey. Young and unrestrained by Mexico's past, Monterrey pursues profit with a single-mindedness unequaled anywhere in the Republic of Mexico. Life here is faster and more efficient than anywhere else in Mexico.
In a nutshell, Monterrey is best described as an assault on the senses, an extreme example of urban Mexico. Consequently, it does not lend itself to rest and relaxation. This metropolis capital of Nuevo León, and home to more than 3 million, had a very interesting beginning. The city was founded in 1596 by Spaniard Diego de Montemayor, who named it for a viceroy of New Spain, the Count of Monterrey. Situated at over 1,700 feet above sea level, Monterrey is surrounded by high and majestic mountains. This industrial giant of the north was the site of the first heavy industry in all of Latin America, and it has been called the Pittsburgh of Mexico. Perhaps like no other place in Mexico, Monterrey stands the old and the new side by side to create a very unique traveling experience. This is the Gran Plaza, sometimes called Marco Plaza, and has often been referred to as the world's largest. The massive thoroughfare covers an area of over 40 acres and took only 3 years to complete, a fact that city leaders take great pride in.
Bueno, sigue con la otra. Ay.
Around this plaza, you will find City Hall, the Zaragoza Plaza, built in the 19th century, and the City Theater. On the east side of the plaza is the oldest cathedral in the city. Its construction began in 1600, and the first Mass was held in 1750. Unavoidable is the beautiful Fuente de la Vida, or Fountain of Life, which is sometimes referred to as the Neptune Fountain, for rather obvious reasons. And last but not least, standing out like a sore thumb, is the tallest monument in all of Mexico, the 230-foot Faro de Comercio, or Commerce Beacon. This bright orange tower was designed by Luis Barragan to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Monterrey Chamber of Commerce.
If you're going to stay in Monterrey, we strongly suggest you stay in the downtown area because that's where everything is. Like this, the Plaza Morelos. You can find everything under the sun here. Clothing, shoes, toys, electronics. But over in this far corner is a union of artists.
The vendors who set up shop here are all artists of some sort. Many actually create their works of art as you wait, while others merely display their wares.
This area of the market is full of artists and their work. You can get handmade boots here. You can get woven hats, woven baskets, woodworks, and they're all handmade. So everything you buy here is practically an original. There's everything that you can imagine here. And for you would-be gangsters, there's even a shoulder holster for that hog leg.
The merchants in this mini mall are classic starving artists. Many are students of art, financing their education by selling goods to tourists. So if you're in the market for some handmade curios, you might want to consider helping a young artist by shopping here at the House of Artists. The House of Artists, as well as Plaza Morelos, are both located in the Zona Rosa, or pink zone of Monterrey. Almost all Mexican cities will have a Zona Rosa, which is generally a shopping paradise, although the term Zona Rosa has been known to refer to the adult district of some cities. In the case of Monterrey, it's a shopper's paradise. There are some distinctive local handicrafts, and as elsewhere in Mexico, plenty of leather goods. There are several separate markets in this area. They're all big and bustling places, selling everything the locals need, plus they house numerous eating establishments, or comedors, which are the least expensive places to eat in town. Monterrey also has at least 2 major shopping malls, which contain many of the popular U.S. retailers. But these open-air markets offer something you will not find in the major shopping malls: various forms of live entertainment, 24 hours a day.
Over my right shoulder, you'll see the Bishop's Palace. This particular structure, built in the 1700s, has served a great many purposes over the years. It's a good illustration of how Mexico's history and the United States' history are entwined. In fact, this particular structure, at different times, has been occupied by General Zachary Taylor, who later became President of the United States, as well as Pancho Villa.
Along with the Commerce Beacon, the Bishop's Palace has become a trademark of the city of Monterrey. Located about 2 miles west of the Zona Rosa, this Baroque-style structure sits atop Loma de Vera Hill and offers some fine views of the city and surrounding mountains. The palace was erected in 1789 and is truly a landmark of beauty, and at different times in its rich history was a strategic hold for both the good guys and the bad guys of Monterrey's wartime past. After these varying factions were through killing each other over this stronghold, it became a yellow fever hospital before it was converted to its present state, the Regional Museum of Nuevo León. Inside are familiar images of Mexico's famous Francisco Villa, also known as Pancho Villa, one of those good guy, bad guy characters we talked about earlier. Benito Juarez, another good guy, bad guy. And of course, the former bishop, the guy this place was supposed to have been built for. Also on display are some Indian pictographs that were discovered in this area, and a habitation map indicating the wide variety of different tribes or clans who once thrived in the surrounding hillsides. The military artifacts seen were unearthed on this Loma, and they attest to the different factions once controlling this strategic hill. The most noteworthy items here are these 17th century statues, which were rescued from the outside elements some years ago and moved inside the protective walls of the palace.
If you really want to get the feel of the city, I'd suggest that you get a room downtown. You can get a room out on the outskirts of the city, out by the airport, one of the major thoroughfares coming through. But come on downtown. Stay at one of the hotels in the center part of the city, so you're within walking distance of everything. Take that car you've driven down and park it. And get on foot, get you a taxi, enjoy the city with your car parked. The streets here are crowded. It takes a long time to get anywhere if you plan to drive. It's a lot easier to come to downtown, to park, and to walk and see everything the city has to offer.
Having already traveled to Guadalajara, Mexico's most traditional city, and now here to Monterrey, Mexico's most modern, Josie Maldonado has prepared this study in contrast.
Our study in contrast examines Mexico's second and third largest cities, Guadalajara and Monterrey. Though both are metropolitan areas containing millions of people, the lifestyles and appearances of the two cities are not at all similar. This is Monterrey. Traveling in Monterrey is much like traveling in any other large city in North America. There are multi-lanes of controlled traffic, railroads, 18-wheel trucks, buses, and tourists, all seemingly in a big hurry. Many people believe that Monterrey may be the city of Mexico's future. She is bold, brassy, and growing. City fathers have devoted themselves to attracting industry and investment from all over the world. As this statue in downtown Monterrey illustrates, the citizens here are very proud of their hard work and of their entry into the industrial age. In Monterrey, a traveler will see many of the same hotel chains as in the U.S., the same fast food places and shopping malls, and will often hear English spoken as a second language. The city boasts of 3 universities and a technical school. One of the reasons Monterrey has become such an industrial giant has been its ability to attract American factories through the maquiladora, or twin plant concept. In this type of arrangement, U.S. companies can use Mexican workers to assemble products and then bring them back into the United States to a second or twin plant without having to pay expensive tariffs when moving the merchandise from one country to the other. Monterrey prides itself in being a modern industrial city, and this approach has helped bring economic prosperity to the area. Farther south, in the state of Jalisco, lies Guadalajara. Unlike Monterrey, this city is considered by many visitors to be the most Mexican of Mexico's large cities. The heart of Guadalajara is a series of spacious plazas surrounding its 17th century twin-towered cathedral. In fact, architecture throughout the older part of the city dates back 200 to 300 years or more. A visitor can certainly sit in one of Guadalajara's many plazas and get some feel of life in colonial New Spain. As new construction or remodeling is done here, the city has been careful to preserve its colonial influences. Not so in many instances around Monterrey. Also unlike Monterrey, Guadalajara moves at a much slower, more deliberate pace. Some of the finest craftsmen in Mexico still practice their arts in or near Guadalajara. Shops are filled with ceramics, papier-mâché figures, and bronze statues, while the majority of business in Monterrey carries a more high-tech classification.
Like any other large country, it is difficult and even reckless to stereotype what can be found in Mexico. In the instance of Monterrey and Guadalajara, each city sees their success measured against a different yardstick.
Much like Guadalajara, Monterrey offers many side trips to the outlying areas of interest. Less than 100 miles to the west, the traveler will cross into the state of Coahuila. Shortly thereafter, we will come upon its capital city, Saltillo.
One unique craft found in Mexico began here in Saltillo and was inspired by the colors of the rainbow. This is an example of a serape. You may see this unique weave throughout Mexico and along the U.S. border. Several different colors of thread are put on a loom, and each thread is pushed through one at a time to form patterns. Designs are made by counting threads as the garment is woven by hand. Originally, the native Indians used the bright colors and taught others their process.
These were the Tlaxcalans. Today, the Tlaxcalans are best known for their role in assisting Hernán Cortés and the rest of the Spanish in their conquest of the Aztecs. The Tlaxcalans proved to be highly skilled loom workers. They, along with the great abundance of wool, helped to develop the unique type of serape, made famous in the 19th and 18th centuries.
Saltillo, which was at one time the capital of Texas, when it belonged to Mexico, adopted the serape as part of its culture and identity.
In order to reach Saltillo, a very pleasant drive up Highway 40 can be taken, in which snow-capped mountains can be seen along with the ever-present cacti this region is widely known for. Saltillo is a mile-high city with a very pleasant climate and a population of close to 500,000. When Mexico won her independence from Spain, the city of only 7,000 inhabitants was made capital over a vast area that included Texas. Like Monterrey, Saltillo was also occupied by American troops under Zachary Taylor during the war with the United States. The 2-century-old Cathedral Santiago looks much the same as it did back when construction began in 1746 and was completed in 1801. Its bell tower offers a good view of Saltillo and features carved columns of gray stone that remain in good condition. Today, there is an attempt being made to restore the downtown area, which is visible on the stroll to the market on the main square.
This is the Mercado Juárez, right in downtown Saltillo. It's right across. In fact, I'm looking at, I believe, the Palacio Municipal, which is the city hall of Saltillo. Inside these walls, you can get just about anything you want in the way of merchandise. There are shoes, there's socks, there's belts, all kinds of leather goods, jewelry. We're going to step inside and see just what's here.
The goods found here are much like those in any other Mexican market, except this market is designed for Saltillo residents, as not many tourists come to this city. Consequently, some pretty good deals can be found.
I paid $16,000 in Mexican money, which is roughly about $5 in American money. It's a good buy.
Upstairs is an area that plays an important role in the daily lives of Saltillo's natives. Many of the homes in this city do not have the luxury of refrigeration. This fact requires the locals to shop daily for their perishables, some of which we will see in this walking tour of Mercado Juárez.
This, my friends, is the north end of a northbound pig. It is the head of a pig, and what these people will do is they will wrap this pig head in foil and cook it in the ground, and when it comes out, it looks a lot better than it looks right there. And if we move on around the corner here, we have pork skins, literally. And these they chop up in little pieces and deep fry them in fat and eat them. And you can buy them in the stores in a little package. They're called pork rinds. Some of them become with spices on them, and some of them come plain. But this is the raw materials for pork rinds. In addition to meats and other things, we have a vegetable market here and fruits. And these are picked fresh daily for these people. And it's a pretty good array of stuff. Cauliflower and bananas and some carrots here, and cilantro is a main cooking spice that these Mexicans use. They make beans with it. They make everything with this cilantro. It has a real pungent odor, and it has a very distinctive taste when you use it in anything you cook. Here's another interesting piece of meat here. This is what they call el bofe, or in English, that's a lung. I suppose it's fairly tasty if it's cooked right, although I must admit I've never eaten it. This appears to be a lung of a non-smoking cow. This lady is preparing what they call here in Mexico caldo, and a rough translation of that is soup. And she's preparing this for tomorrow. It'll cook all night tonight, and that is the meat that's going to go in it. This is called caldo de res, which is beef soup of sorts. All this stuff will be put on a burner, and it'll simmer all night long, and tomorrow it's time to eat. This, as many folks probably recognize, is a piñata. And I've often wondered where they came from. And here's a lady right here who is making piñatas. It starts with basic newspaper, as you can see. She has a mixture of flour and water in that little white container there, which create some sort of a glue, which is what was commonly referred to as paper mache. And you can see her spreading that glue mixture on that piece of newspaper, and she'll stick it on the side there, work it. It is stuck on. Now she'll find another piece of paper, smear it with the glue, and cover up her loose ends. And these are very traditional for birthday parties, and they fill the inside of them where she had just stuck her hand with candies and peanuts. And they blindfold the children and hand them a stick and let them go. They bust it open and everybody gets candy. That's all here in the market in Saltillo.
Saltillo is a place that many of your guidebooks will tell you is simply an old Mexico stopover. You stop over there, spend the night, maybe look around for some arts and crafts. We found it to be a little more than that. We think when you get to Saltillo, you'll want to spend probably 2 or 3 days. One of the interesting things we found in Saltillo, we had a young guide from the tourist office who was 20 years old, and she was also a student. And she kind of apologized for the slowness of this city, Saltillo being laid back and slowed down, and its people being slowed down. By contrast, when we went over to the boulevard over around the university, it was much more hurried and a lot more fast food places. One of the places, in fact, we had lunch. We had a buffet that included spaghetti, it included hamburgers, and of course it included some Mexican cuisine as well. But it was kind of a mix of a great number of cultures there at the university area. But when you went back into the main town, what you found was very much Mexico and very, very, very pleasant. And in fact, I guess the thing we came away with more than anything at Saltillo was the people itself, some of the friendliest people we've ever met. Once you're in Saltillo, one of the things you want to do to really get an appreciation of where you are and of this city itself, just stand in the city and look around you. Look around you at the mountains on all sides, majestic mountains. In fact, you're sitting in a basin surrounded by the Sierra Madres, some of the best views you'll ever see. And in fact, as you leave Saltillo toward Monterrey, you'll see some of the most spectacular views I've ever seen.
What a magnificent view. We're about 45 minutes outside of Saltillo on Highway 40 going towards Monterrey. You'll come to a little village called Villa Garcia. And just beyond that village is Las Grutas, and that roughly translates to the caverns or the caves. They're about 50 million years old. They were discovered in the 1800s by a priest who was wandering through the area. And there are some pretty magnificent sights in there. It all begins at the bottom of that hill.
Located a short 27 miles west of Monterrey are the Grutas de García. The caves in the Cerro del Fraile, or Friar's Mountain, are only 4.5 miles from the town of Garcia. These beautiful natural caverns were discovered by a priest named Juan Antonio Sobrevilla in 1843. A cable car takes visitors to the 2,500-foot summit where the tour of the caves begins. The mile-long journey into the earth can be completed in about 90 minutes. These are the largest set of caves on the North American continent. The 16 different chambers include impressive stalactites and stalagmites with names such as the Hand's Balcony, the Cloud's Chamber, and the Eagle's Nest. On the walls of some of these chambers, one can spot fossilized shells left over from an ocean that once covered the area some 50 to 60 million years ago. You might want to know that some of the pathways are rather narrow, and several steep climbs up poorly lit stairways are required to complete this guided tour.
I'm standing in the very hot kitchen of El Cabrito in Monterrey, Mexico. Behind me here is Carlos Hernandez. He has been cooking cabrito for 15 years. He is the master of cabrito in Monterrey, Mexico. Now, there's a rather lengthy process that goes into this. He has to build a fire. He comes in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he builds a fire here out of carbón de arbones, they call it, arbones. That roughly translates to charcoal from trees, okay? Mainly mesquite and ebony. And then he takes a raw cabrito that's been butchered and skinned, and he spears it with this iron rod. It hangs over this fire, which is very hot, and in 2 hours it's ready to eat. Now, Carlos says this section right here is, in his opinion, the best part of the cabrito. It's all real good. I've eaten it myself many times. And if you want to try something new and really Mexican traditional, come and eat some cabrito in Monterrey.
Other regional favorites include machaca, a shredded dried meat they use to make my favorite breakfast, machacado. For the sweet tooth in all of us, the city of Linares is home to a caramel-like candy made from goat's milk, sometimes called leche quemada, which means burned milk. Monterrey is also famous for its variety of pastries, many of which were introduced to the area by the Spanish Jews who settled here long ago.
Right out here is Cerro del Silla, which translates to Saddleback Mountain. And they call it Saddleback Mountain because, well, it looks like a saddleback. Got your dip there and saddle horn in there. And Appropriately, at the base of that mountain is a rodeo arena, where by Mexican standards they have some pretty world-class rodeos.
The Mexican charreada is the father of the popular American rodeo. Mexican rodeos have been popular here since the Spanish introduced the horse to the area during their conquest of the Aztec Empire. The horse was used as both a psychological weapon, and it also made the Spaniards very mobile in their war with the Native Americans. Today's performance is an unusual one for Monterrey, as this is not your typical Mexican charreada. This arena is host to an American-style rodeo with competitors from all over Mexico. Special guests today are a group of nationally known American clowns, or bullfighters, as they prefer to be called. Brother Taylor and his squad appear at all the sanctioned American rodeos and are well respected among the top U.S. cowboys. This young man is one of Taylor's students here in Monterrey. He's learning the tricks of the trade by attending workshops Taylor conducts in Monterrey each year during the off-season in the U.S. These events are very popular all over the Republic of Mexico and draw capacity crowds each Sunday. Therefore, if you want to attend one during your stay in Monterrey, I would strongly suggest an early arrival to assure a good seat. Normally what you would see is a charreada as opposed to an American rodeo. The events are quite different. The charreada concentrates on the work of the ranch. During the annual roundup of cattle on Mexican ranches, many years before they were held in Texas, men rode in from long distances to help fellow ranchers. When the work was completed, the vaqueros, or cowboys, would celebrate. These celebrations included food, music, dancing, and competitions that exhibit a vaquero's skill in horsemanship, riding wild horses, and throwing bulls by their tails. Some of the events onlookers would witness included cala de caballos, which would judge a vaquero's control and training of his horse. Concurso de Peales involves roping a running mare's hind feet from horseback and on foot. One of the more unusual events is called coleares. In this event, a bull or steer is released in a runway, and a charro must grab the running animal's tail and throw him on his back within a given number of yards and time. Jineteo de novillo, or bull riding, is always exciting. As well as jineteo de yeguas, or bareback mare riding.
Manganas a caballo involves roping the front feet of a running mare. This event is performed both on horseback and al pie, or on foot. Usually, the grand finale of a charreada is the Paseo de la Muerte, or the Ride of Death. Here, several riders drive a wild mare around the arena several times. The performer races parallel to the mare and leaps from his horse to the back of the mare, an event that is both difficult and dangerous. The only women's event you will see in Mexico is called the Escaramuza. It involves groups of women riding side saddle as they exhibit precision maneuvers. This event is regarded as an exacting form of art by most Mexicans.
We're about 20 to 25 miles south of the hustle and bustle of Monterrey. That's right up this highway. That's Highway 85, the highway that goes to Montemorelos and Ciudad Victoria. We're in the village of Villa de Santiago. And I don't know how old this place is, but there are some old structures around here. It sets beautifully in a little mountain pass. Just behind me is a lake which has a dam up on it. And in front of me are some mountains that we saw from Monterrey, but they're a lot more beautiful from here. We're standing in the shadow of the statue of Father Santiago, or Padre Santiago as they call him around here. About 15 miles more down 85, we will turn right and go up to Cola de Caballo, a beautiful set of waterfalls, which in English is translated to Horsetail Falls.
The favorite honeymooners' hideaway of Horsetail Falls is located about 30 miles south of Monterrey. In fact, from above the falls, you can see Santiago, as well as the freshwater Boca Lake. The clear spring waters of Horsetail begin somewhere above here and take a small drop to channel under the road leading down to the falls. They then travel over this small stream bed, making a few turns among the trees.
And comes out here. This is Horsetail Falls. It's pretty obvious why they call it Horsetail Falls. It actually looks like a horse's tail as it comes over the edge of that mountain there. It drops on down some probably 100 feet underneath the first bridge there, drops down a little further, then comes on down on the bridge where we're standing and goes on down to make it a total of about a 200-foot drop in this waterfall. It is spectacular.
The falls are part of the Cumbre de Monterrey National Park system. At the entrance to the park, travelers must exit their vehicles and walk the 3/4-mile path to the base of the falls, or you may catch a ride on a friendly burro or horse-drawn cart. After a relaxing day, we catch our driver for a cart ride back to our vehicle, and we turn north to the U.S. border. We all reluctantly leave Mexico for the time being, but one day, that familiar feeling will begin to creep up on us again, the feeling that feeds our quest to discover Mexico. Until then, adios.
A mi pobre corazón un rayito de esperanza, un poquito de tu amor en cada mujer que veo. Te recuerdo con amor, te recuerdo con cariño, con amor, con tu presencia le das a mi pobre corazón un rayito de esperanza, un poquito de tu amor.